Hey there, everybody. It's Dave here with Vikings First and SKOL live at the 2-minute warning. And guess what? It's the 2-minute warning. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOL live at the 2-minute warning. Next. And we're back. And sorry I had my volume up on that. Didn't mean to, but hey, it is what it is. It's a good day in Minnesota Vikings land. Yes, it is. Your Minnesota Vikings are at the 2-minute warning. They lead 31-0 to Goose Eggs, and they have a first down, which is fantastic. I'd like to welcome everybody who's joined us so far. We have Anthony Tollison. Good to see you, Anthony. Two-Toed is here. Peter is here. Raymond is here. Chuck's here. Ad Ramsey is here. Brian Ports is here as well. Thank you for joining me on Live at the 2-minute warning. We're going to get the whole crew here afterwards. It is going to be one of those wonderful days. Brian says it's a bad win. How can a win be a bad win? Nobody got hurt that I'm aware of. JJ McCarthy for MVP. Yes, Chris, that would sound great, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. Not at all. But hey, I still need to get the tweet out. So let me work on that real quick while we go through the commercials. Hey, Forlorn, good to see you. Kid had a day. Yes, he did. And Remmer, it's good to have you as well. JJ did need this. And the game ain't over yet. No, it isn't, Ant. But hey, still, all right. Defense was good. McCarthy still mediocre. Oh, maybe on production, but he hasn't thrown a pick. He's thrown 3 touchdowns. So he's doing the job. I'll take it. Build confidence. That's what we need to do. Build confidence. Yes, Chris, seeing Ertz get hurt was brutal. That was Jay Ward. We talked about that in the chat. I was in during the game. That seemed like a dirty hit, but hey. It is what it is, and that stuff happens, unfortunately. But not, today we're going to be celebrating the win, because that's what sort of matters on this one. Mary says, finally, complimentary football. Welcome to the show, Mary. George says, it's an interesting win. Is that a neutral enough for the Nazi moderators? Hey, it's a win. It's a win. So, builds confidence. What did you think of JJ being allowed to not think, if you want to put it that way? And we're doing the victory formation thing, by the way, folks. And the game's over. Your Minnesota Vikings win. Vikings win. Vikings win. Final score 31 nada 0 yet over the Washington Commies. Yes, I said it. The Commanders. Oops. Communist moderators. Other channel. My bad. Yeah. No communists allowed here, George. I guarantee that. All right. Great game for JJ. The reps needed for this. Yes, Marlick. It was a great game. I thought so. It's a good game. From start to finish, it was a good game. That opening drive, we thought, well, JJ does well on the script. Well, he did well after that, too. And Cody says KOC ran the football. Yes, he did. He did indeed. And they ran well. They sure did. I'm going to bring on Darren. Darren, what was your impression of this game while I get out this tweet?
Yeah, I think we were talking about it online, Dave, that you made the comment to a little group we have that like J.J. McCarthy really needed this kind of performance, like badly. And this is, I don't know, how many percent better than what we've seen from him recently, which is good. So he needed some positives to happen, and he got it this game. The first game, he hasn't thrown an interception, I believe. And he gets 3 touchdown passes. So a little bit of progress there, and something he can use to take into the Dallas game next week, which is good. So kudos to him for bouncing back from probably the worst football game he's ever played in Green Bay 2 weeks ago, and playing workmanlike type of performance. I think there's still some issues there, though, of course, Dave. Like the Vikings, Drew Brees talked about it late in the telecast about how that he doesn't have those layer type of throws over the linebackers and between the numbers. Those dig routes that the Vikings used to live off of with Justin Jefferson they're nowhere to be seen anymore with him at quarterback, as they disappeared because they just don't. He just can't complete those right now, and that eliminates part of what the bread and butter is of this offense and Justin Jefferson. And it seems like the only passes they can throw to Justin Jefferson now are screens at the line of scrimmage. So again, Justin Jefferson had 2 catches today, I think, for 11 yards. 5 times if you count the one that got wiped out by a penalty. And I think with J.J. McCarthy today, you saw early on, like when he hit the top of his drop, and there was the one read, things looked smooth. But then when things got into where he couldn't get to that first read, and this was, you could see this later on in the second half, when he had to make some decisions, then the mechanics started breaking down. You start seeing his throwing motion a little bit weird, passes maybe not on target. So those are the things that he's still got to do to be what I would say like a legit starting NFL quarterback. And we didn't see those things today. But again, miles better with the Vikings offense, and it was almost a perfect formula for them because the running game, although not explosive, was getting consistent chunks of yardage, 4 yards, 5 yards, pretty much every carry, had him in nice, easy down situations. He did convert some 3 third downs on some throws and some nice scrambles early in the game, which I think helped. But this was a good bounce back game for McCarthy, but it's clear he's got a long way to go to be a quarterback like some of the better ones in the league. I'm not even going to talk about Mahomes and those guys because he's nowhere near them, but I'd like to see him be we want to see him in the Justin Herbert range or the Jordan Love range. And that is not where he's at right now, but three passing touchdowns, you put up 31 points. This was kind of how I was hoping he would play at the start of the season. And this was the formula that we all felt that this is the way they had to play. Your running game is effective. It puts your young quarterback in comfortable down and distance situations. The defense gets turnovers, gets after the quarterback. It keeps the other team, the opposing offense under wraps. And Bob's your uncle. You win, you win comfortably, right?
Yeah.
What does Drew say about always say about football? It's a cruel mistress, right? Last week we get shut out and the offense can do nothing. This week we shut out a team and the offense looked competent. It helps too that Washington's defense is not very good, one of the worst in the NFL. And Drew was right yesterday when he said, I see us scoring 28 points or more. They did. And part of the reason, though, was because they took advantage of a bad defense, which we'll give Kevin O'Connell and just J.J. McCarthy credit for. I was not as optimistic that they would be able to execute this game plan as well as they did. Can they execute it again next week and the weekend after when you play the Packers? That's another question. But we'll leave that for next week.
We'll hype the game against Dallas next week. Next Sunday night.
We will.
Jonas, how's things over in Germany?
Well, I was able to watch a fun Vikings football game. So I would say that's all we could ask for right now, and we got that. So yeah, I'm happy.
Good. What'd you think of the game? Other than it was fun.
I think going into the season, this was kind of the vision that they kind of hoped for. They got an early lead. They executed the offense. I wouldn't say perfectly, but they did it in a way that they took care of the football. They sustained drives. They had, I think, 4 mid to long range third down conversions on that 19-play drive. And in the end, that's all you want to see. And kind of like I said the last few weeks when we talked about the defense not being as dominant as we want them to be, they are built to sustain leads. They are built to give teams hell once they are in clear passing situations. And that's exactly what they did today. The Vikings got that early lead that they've been chasing like all year. They got it. The defense was finally able to pin their ears back, rush the passer, and go after the football. And good things happened. That was the formula going in, and they finally were able to execute that.
Mm-hmm. They were, which was great. All right, now it's time to bring in Tyler Forness, who, of course, switched his camera position, and now I got to reload it. I know why. It's not because he switched. It's because we had Sal last week.
And George, I saw you're asking what territory I'm in. It's the Northwest Territories in Canada. Just to answer your question.
Oh, Canada.
Minus 26 or 27 Fahrenheit here again today. In case anybody's wondering.
There he is, Tyler.
Well, we can at least say that J.J. McCarthy's not going to be subject to the CFL for at least a little while. Really, I was really impressed with him today. There's been a lot of talk about, hey, what's the deal with his development? It feels like the Vikings really don't know what to do with him, which is true. It really hasn't felt like they knew what to do with J.J. McCarthy because they keep talking in different platitudes and they keep talking about different things. And it feels like they just kind of figured it out. Just shut up and just let him play. Let him just kind of figure it out. Don't put too much pressure on him. And guess what? It seems to work because he looked way more composed in the pocket. When he was trying to escape the pocket, it was because he had to escape, not because he was going too early. There were still things to clean up, a couple accuracy issues, but overall, he threw the ball really well. He was throwing to the right guys, and he was making really crisp quality decisions. I thought this was a really well-executed game on offense. It wasn't overly explosive, but it didn't have to be because the defense gave you quite a bit, and you took advantage of things when you had to. I thought the one thing that really stood out to me was that 19-play, 98-yard drive where they thought they were a damn service academy. God bless ethical football. It wasn't explosive. It was a lot of short passes. It was a lot of really nice runs, and they just drove the ball down. And at that point, it almost felt like a dagger because it went from 7-0, where the Commanders were 2 yards away from scoring, and now the Vikings are up by 2 touchdowns. And at that point, it just, when you look back at, you can't call a game over in the second quarter, but it certainly felt like that ended up being kind of the dagger where the Commanders it didn't feel like they were going to be able to come back at all. And just a very well played game, all phases. And I was very impressed with just how everybody composed themselves. First team in 33 years to pitch a shutout the week after getting shut out. Good stuff.
I'd like to thank Cliff Kingsbury for calling 4 straight passes on that drive after they're running the ball down our throats.
To be fair, it was only 3. It was just 3, not 4.
I would have been handing it off to Chris Rodriguez there.
I think they should have done it, and Kevin O'Connell's gotten kind of caught up where each individual play call is fine in a vacuum. But if there's 2 yards to go, maybe you shouldn't throw the ball 3 straight times. Maybe you should, I think 3rd down's a great opportunity to throw that football, because then you'd be like, okay, it's 3rd and 2. You need 2 yards for the goal line, but you can get them to really bite with play action because you can really do whatever you want there. We'll take it. 31-0 win. And it felt like the Vikings had control of the game from start to finish, which we've always thought this was a football team that when they operated competently, they were good. Problem was they didn't operate competently very often. So it was great to see them get back on track. Sucks for draft position, but I'm never going to complain about the team playing well and getting a win, because at the end of the day, you need to be able to build toward next year. And this is a good building block to do so.
Gotcha.
I'm going to get this off my chest. Before I forget, I want to talk about Jay Ward's hit on Zach Ertz. I thought it was a dirty fucking tackle by him. He didn't have to go knee on knee. When Joseph did that to TJ Hawkinson, Vikings fans were in a uproar over it. Same exact thing. I know things happen fast in football, but he could have hit him in the waist or thigh there. I thought it was a cheap shot by Ward. That isn't Vikings football. I was really disappointed to see that. And
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think it was a cheap hit at all. I also didn't think the Kirby Joseph hit was cheap either. So I'll push back a little bit, Darren. I actually thought he hit him in the thigh, and it wasn't in the knee, but
it was right above the knee.
Because the leg was not planted in the ground, it did shoot back quite a bit. Where the Hawkinson one, he was fully planted on the ground. Ertz's foot never hit the ground. So I don't know. Here's the tough part. The NFL is trying to get players to not hit high. They're telling you, hit low, hit low, hit low, hit low. It's really hard for me, and maybe the group feels different. It's hard for me to be mad at a hit where they intentionally go for the waist or the thigh, because that's what the NFL is telling them to do. To me, it's just a cost of doing business, and it sucks. You don't want to see a player get hurt, especially a guy like Ertz, who has proven himself time and time again to be a good guy, a good teammate, and a good football player. But it just is what it is, because they don't want you hitting high because of concussions. So legs just get kind of screwed. I really don't feel that hit was dirty. I still don't think the hit on Hawkinson was dirty, even though the week after, that playoff game against the Rams, a couple weeks later in that same year, Kirby Joseph hit Tyler Higbee in the same way. I just think it's a cost of no concussions. And maybe I'm out to lunch on that.
Yeah, I think it's especially on those jump balls for the receiver, because you have seen a lot of penalties where they hit him high, and then the officials ruled it as head and neck area, and it's really hard to aim on those because it's just tough to know how fast he's gonna come down. So you gotta go low, because otherwise you're risking a 15 yards penalty, and it sucks, and it's tough on a defender, but it's pretty much their only choice right now. And it's obviously, I feel bad for Zach Ertz, but right now I think this is kind of the only thing he can do at this point, because both you are taught to hit low on bigger players. So as DB on a tight end, you're gonna go low, and you're also gonna go low with those receivers in the air for jump balls, because you're very penalty prone once you go high there.
So for those in the chat, and Darren, Jonas, and Dave, you can take a look at it too. I'm dropping the link in the chat right now. because it's got the clip. I just pinned the message as well, so everybody should be able to see it if you want to take a look. I think he just kind of getting another look at it, he could have gone a little bit higher, but I don't think it was like malicious. It's just feels to me the cost.
I did fair points by Tyler and Jonas there for sure. And as I said, things happen fast in football, so it's a little bit easy for me to say here, sitting on my chair, that he could have hit him in the thigh waist area. But I also know that I've seen Ward take a bunch of stupid chippy penalties throughout his 3 years with the Vikings on special teams. And I feel that I don't know him personally, but he's a guy who plays kind of hot all the time. And I can see him wanting to lay out somebody like that. It looked like he had other options. That's just all. But I think otherwise, 31-0. I'm very happy about that.
But speaking of tight ends, we had ours score touchdowns, and the fact that KOC had them involved in the game very much early, often, I thought that's a great compliment to what JJ McCarthy does, and that he likes his tight ends, and that he used them. That in the running game I thought it was a good called game on KOC's part today.
And another evidence of, with all 5 of our starters healthy, what they're capable of doing, particularly in the run blocking side of things today. And, pass blocking seemed to be pretty good too, although McCarthy did not have to drop back very much. I think he threw 25 passes today, and he got the ball out quick on a lot of them. So, but hey, surprise, surprise, when you've got your team is mostly healthy and you got a pretty good roster, you can play pretty good football sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I loved on that first drive because I think O'Connell could do a little bit more of this, the tendency breaking stuff. That jet sweep to Jalen Nailor was a phenomenal call because you saw the edge rusher crash hard on the running back, and Nailor had to do a little bit of that hip swivel to get around him. But then it was a 10-yard gain because there was nobody out there otherwise to impact him. You're going weak side with it, which is also a really nice call because it creates open space. And those little tendency breakers make a difference. I want to see a little bit more of that. Get them over pursuing. We saw it in the Lions game, and that bootleg that everybody was complaining about on that 3rd and goal from the 2. That was because O'Connell went one too far to try and get them to over pursue because he had already baited them and beat them twice. One of them was a jet sweep. Push pass. That I'm grouping those as the same thing. But just overall, just a great game. And I'm ecstatic that the Vikings were able to put together a game like this. And some people are going to look back at the end of the year and be like, oh, but if they lost this game, draft position. Sure. But you always want to win football games. And by winning football games, you put yourself in position to continue to grow and evolve moving forward as a football team. It's not just about being one spot higher. I'll contend that arguably being in the teens is better than being in the top 10 from a value perspective in this draft. I said it at the beginning of the year too, because there aren't a ton of high-end impact, superstar talents in this class. There's a lot of good, solid pieces, and the teens is going to be where you're going to get those. And that's where I think value per dollar is going to be significantly higher. And you still might be able to get a guy like Caleb Downs at 11 or 12, which is where the Vikings are currently slotted.
The Vikings are still in good position for a high draft pick. They've got 4 games coming up against people are going to say Dallas's defense is terrible. I don't think they've been terrible the past 3 or 4 games since they made the Quinnen Williams trade. They've been a much better defense. That's going to be a tough test for JJ McCarthy. And say the Vikings go in their last 5 games, go 3-2 or 4-1 even, exceed expectations of mine. That's also good going into the season, even if your draft position goes down, because it probably means that JJ McCarthy has played a lot better in those 5 games, and your offense has performed competently, which you have not been doing pretty much all season, and your defense has still been playing strong, which are all good things going into the offseason, even if your draft position ends up being lower.
Right, and playing for draft position seems to be, at least to me, a loser's mentality. And I don't want a team to get that ingrained, because then you end up being the Jets or somebody like that, the Browns. And I'd rather win games like Minnesota's used to than to lose them. Just saying. Me as a fan.
Yeah, I come on Sundays to watch good, fun football. That's what I watched today. That is not what I've been watching the past 7 games. And I'm okay with that if we drop from like 10 in draft position to 12 or whatever it is right now because we won a game. And I'll be happy to drop lower if we keep on winning. It'll be a sign that the plan that the Vikings put in place at the start of this year was the right plan, and it's starting to work.
Yeah. Now build on it. What do you do next week?
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't care about this anymore. How is this going to impact the game against the Cowboys? How are you going to build on that and then go to the Meadowlands and face the Giants? And then can you win those 2 divisional games? I honestly hope the Vikings go 4-0 to finish the rest of the year after this game, because that is how you build your young quarterback. If that means you draft 18th, who gives a shit? You know what it's going to do for your football team to have everybody rally around and be like, hey, we really feel like we have our franchise guy now. And that's what this is about. Make sure you know that going into next year, that McCarthy's the dude. You thought he was when you drafted him. He wasn't your first choice. But did he end up being a good choice? That's what we need to figure out. And this is a great step. I don't care about the numbers. When you look at the advanced metrics, like EPA per play at one point in this game was 0.54. We've seen this dude at negative 0.67 after an entire game. I very, very happy with this performance. I am pulling up the game here from today. 0.39 EPA per play and you know what? His average depth of target shrunk 6.7 yards. At one point it was at halftime it was at 9. QBR of 79.4. Look, he just played good football. And very, very happy with that. Like it's really, really hard to be mad at anything that the Vikings did on offense today. Jordan Addison had another drop. What the hell's going on, man? Like, do we need to get that guy stick him or put magnets in his gloves or something? It's getting nuts. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe he's hurt and it's just the losing's affecting him. I don't know, but we got to figure it out and we got to fix it.
Wow.
There's one thing I want to say about the approach of JJ McCarthy's development, and I think I've thought about this a lot, especially after the comments that Kevin O'Connell and McCarthy both made during the week. And I think right now we are seeing how the injury that JJ McCarthy had last season is affecting the plan. Because I think the Vikings knew how raw he was with his mechanics. And I think the obvious plan was let Donald play a year, fix his mechanics on the sidelines, and then go in next season where you can focus on the progressions, you can focus on the stuff you have to do in games, and don't have to fix his mechanics anymore because you had a year on the sidelines where you've been able to focus on that without really prepping him for games. That obviously got derailed because he didn't. He wasn't able to throw the football, obviously, with the injury he had. And because of that, the Vikings kind of pivoted. They tried to get the mental stuff down and then kind of do the mechanic stuff on the fly during the season. And that obviously didn't work. That was kind of miscalculated. But they kind of had to throw him out there because they didn't really have another plan at QB for the season. And since you didn't want to do a multiple year commitment to Sam Darnold, and Jones obviously felt he had a better chance at beating out Anthony Richardson than JJ McCarthy. You had those good options walk out of the building, and then you kind of had to rush it and do it on the fly, and that obviously didn't work. And I've seen people giving Kevin O'Connell a lot of flack about uh, how he approached this and about overcoaching him. And yes, he kind of was overcoached. I get that. But I think the problem, and this is something that I can kind of relate to, obviously on a different level, because I'm also like a very head centric person. I'm also a perfectionist in some cases, and I've also been coaching a lot of. I've also been have experience in coaching, and you have to take a very different approach to different types of persons, and you kind of have to get the right approach for everybody, and that's kind of tough because sometimes you get mixed signals, and you kind of get signals from somebody which uh, can be detrimental. And I think the problem was that both Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy are very head centric people and very perfectionist kind of people. And what I think happened kind of over the year was the things that O'Connell was preaching obviously kind of didn't work, because fixing mechanics mid-season just is very tough, and we saw the hiccups. And what happened probably was that McCarthy went to O'Connell and kind of uh, encouraged him to give him more coaching. I think he wants that, because I think he is that kind of guy who wants. Who's also a perfectionist and who also wants to work on it. So he probably went to O'Connell asking for more, uh, to correct all the issues, and that kind of created this kind of uh, I- spiral where O'Connell tried to coach him more, then it didn't work, and then McCarthy asked for even more, and then he got a more and more and more overcoached, and more into his head. And I actually give O'Connell credit for noticing that and snapping out of this spiral mid-season, because it's tough to get out of spirals like that mid-season. And yeah, it's just the thing where their initial plan was thrown off, and since then they kind of tried to reel it back in. And I'm gonna be very interested to see how uh, this thing goes on to the end of the season.
Yep, I agree. And we got talks of Josh Allen being good. Josh Allen just won the football game for the Bills. It's his like 13th in a row in January or December or some stuff like that. Those that remember, Josh Allen, when he came out of Idaho, could not hit the broadside of a barn. Well, he got better over time.
Yeah, he did.
They'll work on all the procedural steps and arm angle and all that sort of stuff in the offseason. But I'm glad they made the choice not to do that this week and to let JJ play.
Yeah. I think I want to transition this because I think this is an interesting talking point. Have you ever seen a personal foul completely eliminate a penalty from the other side? Because that was a first for me, and I've been spending the last few minutes looking up the NFL rule book to try and figure it out, because they said it supersedes it, which to me is such an interesting element, because I've never seen a penalty get completely wiped away by another penalty, unless it was a false start, because a false start anything that happens after that does not count. But this was interesting, and I found something in the rule book that maybe might explain it. I'm still in the process of searching, but
yeah, it'd be interesting to know how many of those calls does that apply.
Yeah, I've never seen it or heard of it before. If there is a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct foul by the defense prior to the completion of a forward pass thrown from behind the line, enforcement is from the previous spot or dead ball spot, whichever is more beneficial to the offense. To me, the penalty technically, I guess technically you'd have to kind of look at the timing, but I think he gets hit before the ball is complete, and that might be the thing. But I haven't found where it supersedes a penalty, because that to me was the bonkers element here.
Right. We see where they're offset. Penalties will offset, but not.
Yeah, that's what I kind of expected. I'm not sure about all this right now, because even though I am a referee, a football referee in Germany, we do college rules and also college penalty enforcement, and that it's way different than the way the NFL enforces rules. So I'm really not sure about that one. In college, this definitely would have been offsetting penalties, because if you have 2 live ball penalties during if you have 2 live ball penalties by both teams, it just offsets no matter which kind of penalties you have, unless it's like on turnover, where you can have stuff like clean hands rule and stuff like this. But I was really surprised about that one, because from the rule books I know, which incidentally are mostly college football rule books, this definitely would have been offsetting penalties.
Tyler, did you see Big's comment?
No.
Get a hold of Luke Braun. He knows. He's a rules nerd.
I'll shoot Luke a message. I'm looking through the rule book myself, and I'm trying to find it, because it's such a wild call. I've never heard of a rule superseding another.
I hadn't either.
That's crazy. But I mean, the Vikings got a huge benefit from it, and I think they ended up scoring a touchdown later on that drive. But
I think that wasn't that on the Hawkinson touchdown pass? That was their.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
The game was over at that point. But strange call. I guess Chris talking about crush for Daniel Jones. The Daniel Jones Achilles injuries that eliminates a veteran. I don't think he was coming to Minnesota, but you cross him off the list immediately as a veteran competition for McCarthy.
Yeah, he'll be.
Oh yeah, that one is. I feel really bad for that one.
Yeah, he's going to be nothing next year.
So I'm hoping Kevin Seifert will talk to the refs, because he always does the pool report. But I just searched supersede, and in the rule book I only got 2 options, and one of them is just a half distance to the goal. Like, it'll supersede the like a 15-yard penalty, but yeah, or multiple unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. Nothing about overtaking an illegal man downfield. That's so crazy.
Can we praise Andrew Van Ginkel again about how unreal he is at recognizing these screens that they throw? Like,
Darren, that was me. That was me
today.
I did that.
You did that? Of course you did. Yeah. Got the same hairstyle.
I don't know why. Yeah, I am. I think 4 inches taller than him, because I think he's 6'2". Why are you throwing screens to his side? Why haven't teams figured that out? He's good. He's good.
I encourage them to keep doing it. Yeah.
I thought it was good. I wish he'd ran it back all the way, but I understand why he didn't.
And early in the game, I was saying to Dave, like the Flores pressure scheme plan against Jayden Daniels, he was sending Hitman a lot on the blitzes in that game, more than I've seen Hitman sent all year, and Hitman was unblocked on just about every one of them. So Washington clearly wasn't expecting that. So tip of the cap to Brian Flores for putting in a little wrinkle. It's not that Hitman has never blitzed before. He's blitzed a lot, but Washington wasn't expecting him to be the guy doing it much today. And Hitman gets himself another INT, 38 for his career, most by any active player. Now we just need him to get a sack or two here.
He moves up to maybe 4 on the Vikings list.
Yeah, get to 40 INTs or something. We're at the point in the season where we want to see some people hit some milestones and pad some stats, I think.
Pad some stats. Not meaning Kirk Cousins, of course. There's but yes, especially for Hitman, because you want to see him make the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, without the Super Bowl win.
Talked about it a bit yesterday too, but I'd like to hear Jonas and Tyler's thoughts on what do you do with Eric Wilson in the offseason. Guys, tied for the team in sacks. He makes he makes big time plays game after game after game, but he is 31 years old.
I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't re-sign him because I don't think I think this is an anomaly year. I think he deserves to make money. I would not be the one to give him that money. I agree. For me, going into the offseason, I think inside linebacker is going to be priority number 1 or 2 for this football team because of how much having 2 true versatile off-ball linebackers has made a big difference for this football team. But you can't give Eric Wilson, who's about to be 32 years old and is having the best season of his career in year 9, a bunch of money. That to me, that would be bad business practice. Now, if he's willing to take another 1-year, $4 million deal, I think you give it to him and you're happy with it. But I don't think you give him any more than that. If somebody's going to give him like 3 years, 24, you let them pay him, and that's okay. And good for Wilson. He'd get paid a bunch of money. That rocks for the player. From a business perspective, it would be like paying Case Keenum a ton of money after 2017 because he had a good year. That would be to me the equivalent. You just can't.
I think the other thing of this, and we kind of seeing this with Byron Murphy this year, there are players, and Eric Wilson has been one of those, and more so than Byron Murphy, one of those players throughout his career who are flashy at times. Sometimes they are flashy a lot of times, but they also do some boneheaded and stupid stuff, and they are called out of position a lot, and they are just not consistent from a down-to-down basis. And that's kind of been the story of Eric Wilson's career, and especially for inside linebackers. If you are that type of linebacker, this just isn't sustainable. You're gonna have those stretches, those crazy stretches where you have crazy stats because you have been able to pile on those big plays. And then once those big plays disappear, and they will do that at some point because you rarely see defensive players have those big plays in long stretches. You'll see the other side of it, and the drop-off is steep in those cases, and that's what we're seeing with Byron Murphy right now, because those big plays that he had last year aren't coming this year, and that's why I'm on the same side as Tyler. I wouldn't pay him unless it's like super low, which might happen because of his age. But obviously for him, I would like him to get paid, and I would like the Vikings not be the one who do pay him.
Well, I think we've got 100% consensus on this one.
Yes, we do.
Good
Yeah.
player, great year. Nah.
Switching topics real quick. College playoff football. Did the bracket get selected correctly?
No,
Haven't seen it
absolutely
yet.
not. Alabama being in is a disgrace. Having Notre Dame over Miami for the last 5 weeks and then switching it only because of the head-to-head is a bunch of bullshit. I still think, and I would have fought hard, I think Vanderbilt should have been in this tournament. And if they had the name of Alabama behind him, they would have been in this tournament. The committee has a set of criteria that they have to follow, but they just pick the teams they want, and then they just say whatever they want about them. They said last week that Tennessee wasn't a good win for Vanderbilt because they weren't in the top 25. And then they said today that Tennessee was a good win for Alabama. That doesn't make any sense. Why is it good for Alabama, not for Vanderbilt? This committee is a bunch of hogwash. And quite frankly, I will say this. I could do a better job with the committee. Me and all my industry buddies, that we have a group chat, we could sit and we could put together a really, really good college football playoff. It's stupid.
Roby says, Tyler, you should be thoroughly embarrassed after a ridiculous rant last week over a meaningless game with a UDF quarterback. Will you become a fan again?
I mean, I'm always going to be a Vikings fan, but that's not going to change how I covered the team. Look, in real time, that is how I felt. I was starting to lose faith in the Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Ofo-Mensah regime because of not just what we saw in the field, but their consistent lack of understanding of what they have. And look, Brosmer was terrible, but the PR about Brosmer that came from national media, that came from local media, was absurd. And that came from the building. That didn't come from people like me and Dave sitting here. Oh, we think Brosmer is going to be great. This came from national reporters who get sourced stuff. They were sent that. And their lack of evaluation on some of these players, and it goes on the defensive side too, and the fact that the offense just looked anemic. The effort was not there. And when the effort's not there, that's a humongous red flag. Guess what? They were back on track today. And that's why I try to never speak in absolutes about these kind of things, because things can change from week to week basis. But last week gave me a lot of concern. A decent amount of it was eased. But now we got to see them build on it. Have another good game. Have a third good game. And then I think those concerns will honestly kind of go by the wayside. But I don't apologize for what I said last week, because that's how I genuinely felt. And watching that game was pathetic. It was. And I think all of us here agree on that. It was terrible. So no.
It was not a fun time.
I don't feel embarrassed. Honestly, I thought I handled myself pretty professionally and how I said it. No, that was genuinely how I felt after watching that football game. And you know what? That's why, like I said, that's why you don't speak in absolutes. It's okay to change your opinion with new information. And my opinion feels a little bit better today than it did last week.
Gotcha. All right. Now let's go over some box score stats real quick. JJ McCarthy was 16 for 23, 163 yards, 7.1 yard average. I know people are screaming for him to throw 250 to 300 yards, but hey, it is what it is. He ended up with a 129.2 QB rating. Pretty good, I would think. 16 for 23 completion percentage. I don't know what that equates to. At least
well into the 60s.
Yeah. So, Aaron Jones ran for 14 carries, 76 yards, and a 5.4 yard per average carry. Jordan Mason, also a workhorse today, 11 carries, 52 yards, 52 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. JJ McCarthy also had 6 carries, 19 yards.
69% completion percentage today. So that's 69. By far his best of the season.
Mm-hmm. That's what we want to see. And then
Yes.
Xavier Scott had 3 carries. Why? Because we were winning the game for 15 yards, 5 yard per carry.
Ty Felton had a reception.
Yes,
He did.
he did, which is pretty cool. Jordan Addison led the team with only 4 receptions, 62 yards. Jalen Nailor had 1. He made the cover, the thumbnail for this show. I thought he'd have a better game, but he had a good, 3 catches for 30. You had Josh Oliver, 2 for 24 and 2 touchdowns. Like I said, they got the tight ends involved. TJ Hawkinson, 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown as well. It must have been tight end day in Minnesota for some reason. Justin Jefferson, only the 2 for 11. His longest was 13. He had 1 2-yard screen that was tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Ty Felton with the 1 for 10. Good for him. He got that after the catch, majority of it, which is good to see. Ben Sims, tight end, took the first catch of the game, 1 for 9. Xavier Scott also had 1 for 5. Not bad.
I'm gonna interrupt you really quick. If you want to see something funny, go watch the 2-point conversion attempt that the Browns just tried to tie the game against the Titans. I don't know if that was just a really stupid play design or really stupid execution. I think it was kind of both. It's gonna be one of the funniest things you're gonna see today.
Chuck agrees with you because he posted the same time you were talking about it that the Cleveland 2-point play was terrible. All right. Well, I've got the Bears-Packers game on, and I think most fans are.
Yeah, I'm watching that zone.
Rooting
Be
for
watching
the
that
Bears.
as I get off of here.
Mm-hmm. But because we want the Packers to lose. Why? Because we hate the Packers, not because it keeps our playoff lives a hope, but because we hate the Packers.
This is kind of one of those games where I'm rooting for the meteor.
I mean, tie would help.
Let's be honest here. I don't want to see either team of those win. I really don't want to see the Bears fraud their way into the number 1 seed. And on the other hand, if the meteor destroys the Earth right now, the Earth is going to be destroyed on the day we feel good about the Vikings. So what else can you ask for?
Anyways, all right, get on the defensive side. Box scores, Blake Cashman had 10 total tackles. Jalen Redmond, 6. Yeah, Jalen Redmond, awesome. He had 1 sack, 2 TFLs. Good for him, as usual. Jalen Redmond, we need to extend him like Tyler suggests. Eric Wilson also had another good game, 1 sack and 1 TFL. Let's see. Harrison Smith, of course, with the pick. Andrew Van Ginkel with 2 pass defenses. That's just, good. Jonathan Allen with the QB hits. And it was Hargrave that recovered the fumble. Hey,
and punched it out.
Yeah.
That was like really impressive to stay in bounds there.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny that we're
play by that guy.
34-4 when we tie or win the turnover battle.
I'm going to keep, it was mentioned way earlier that I'm going to keep on beating the drum for Dallas Turner. I thought he was good again today. Had some pass rush pressures, but the Daniels in particular, kind of with the way Daniels does, wriggled out of them, but he didn't have as large of a snap count as he's had the previous weeks because Grenard was playing more, but he's turning into the player that we wanted to see, I think.
Yep.
And that's great news for the Vikings.
So to answer Freddie's question, if they're going to flex the Vikings game out, no, it's already past the 13-day window. Vikings will be playing on Sunday night next week, which I hate primetime games so much. I hate them. I used to love them.
We got a couple more. Well, if you want to call Christmas one, but
yeah, that's a 3:30. That's fine.
Yeah, but it's not Christmas, and that'll be the whiteout game.
I'm just talking time. It sucks having to cover them because I'll be working straight on from like
2 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So will I. And speaking of the Cowboys game, we have a special guest coming on this week on a Skoling with Friends episode, so we can talk about them boys.
Jerry Jones.
And Jerry Jones, specifically, I'm sure will be brought up.
Is he your guest?
No, that'd be cool, though. But no.
Yeah.
We've had him on before, Billy Kramer. So it's going to be fun this week. Speaking of fun this week, Tyler, what do we got tomorrow night?
I don't know yet. I'll have something. We'll talk about this game. I'm gonna watch all 22 tomorrow and kind of get a sense for some of the things on offense, and then we'll have a X's and SKOLs at some point this week too, and we'll just keep talking about it. We may be talking about a team that's out of the playoffs. Who knows? So
it could be. All
a lot of fun stuff.
Packers win or tie, and we're eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes, Anthony CD had a horrible concussion last week, which probably, we'll see. Any last words there, Jonas? What you got going on in Germany?
Probably not much in the podcast department this week because my week is stacked until Thursday. So not much there, but I'm just going to enjoy starting into this week with a bunch of my sports teams finally winning again. It kind of has been a dreadful year so far for pretty much all my my sports teams. I mean, Wild and Timberwolves are fine, I guess, but my local soccer team here has been pretty bad starting the season. They're pretty much out of contention for what they were hoping for, but at least they turned it around and are playing solid games right now. So they are fun to watch again. And the Vikings at least had one game where they were fun to watch again. So I'll take that.
Take the one game. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. Yes, that's the way it should be played all season. And he says, how about them dogs? Tyler, you know anything about them dogs?
Right over left.
With Darren, I know you'll come up with something depressing for next Saturday's two old bloggers. But I thought, if you haven't watched it, my opening monologue from yesterday was classic. Please go back and at least watch that. You'll enjoy that. With that, what do we say, gentlemen?
SKOL Vikings, baby.
And the Vikings win one. It's great. SKOL Vikings. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.